Girls, it's Mrs. Dearman. I hope everyone's doing well. I miss you all so much and I can't wait until we can see each other again, hopefully soon. I'm going to talk to you about our five senses. We haven't talked about this yet, so you might be confused about what it is. Our five senses are things we use to learn about the world around us, and we use different parts of our body to use our senses. One of our first senses is our sense of sight. What body part do you think we use to see with? Our eyes, right? We see with our eyes. Another sense is our sense of smell. What would we use to smell with? Our nose, right? Our other sense is our sense of hearing. What do we hear with? Right, our ears. Our sense of taste. What do you use to taste with? Right, your tongue. Your tongue can taste. And the last one is your sense of touch. You use your hands to touch things, but it's actually your skin that has feeling. If you were to put something on your arm or your leg, you would still be able to feel it, right? So I have a book for you that I'm going to read to you, and this is a book that I've had for years. I remember my parents bought me this book, so I remember this book well, and I remember reading it lots of times. So it's called My Five Senses, and the author is Aliki. Okay. My Five Senses. I can see. I see with my eyes. I can hear. I hear with my ears. I can smell. I smell with my nose. I can taste. I taste with my tongue. That ice cream makes me really think of the summertime. I can touch. I touch with my fingers. Ooh, that reminds me of petting my pet, which is a dog, and he feels soft. I do all this with my senses. I have five senses. When I see the sun or a frog or my baby sister, I use my sense of sight. I am seeing. When I hear a drum or a fire engine or a bird, I use my sense of hearing. I am hearing. When I smell soap or a pine tree or cookies just out of the oven, I use my sense of smell. I am smelling. When I drink my milk and eat my food, I use my sense of taste. I am tasting. When I touch a kitten or a balloon or water, I use my sense of touch. I am touching. Sometimes I use all my senses at once. Sometimes I only use one. I often play a game with myself. I guess how many senses I'm using at that time. When I look at the moon and the stars, I use one sense. What do you think it is? Seeing, right? When I laugh and play with my puppy, I use four senses. Four senses. What do you think if you're playing with a puppy? What senses would you use? I see, hear, smell, and touch. You wouldn't taste a puppy, would you? No. That'd be silly. When I bounce a ball, I use three senses. What three senses do you think you use when you bounce a ball? I see, hear, and touch. Right. Sometimes I use more of one sense and less of another. But each sense is very important to me because it makes me aware. To be aware is to see all there is to see, all there is to hear, all there is to smell, taste all there is to taste, touch all there is to touch. Wherever I go, whatever I do, every minute of the day, my senses are working. They make me aware. Boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed that book. I'm going to leave you with a couple questions that you can discuss with your family. So what do we use our five senses for? Why do we use them? Can you tell someone in your family all the five senses and what body parts we use for each sense? What ways do you use your senses? When you play outside, what senses are you using? When you eat a meal, what senses are you using? When you play a game, what senses are you using? Try to think of some examples that you and your family can talk about. Is there a sense that you think is the most important one to you? And can you think of something that you would use all five senses? I'm going to show you a way I use all my five senses when I have an apple. So here's a nice apple. I use my sense of sight to look at the apple, and I can tell that the apple is red and it's round. I can use my sense of touch on this apple and feel it, and it feels cold and smooth. I can use my sense of smell to smell the apple. It smells sweet, and if I take a bite, it tastes sweet and juicy. And you know what else, boys and girls? I could hear my apple. What did it sound like? I heard the crunch when I bit into it. So I used all my five senses when I eat this apple. Boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed the story today. I miss all of you so much, and I will see you again next week with another video. Bye, boys and girls. I'm going to finish my apple.